Welcome to the Admin Angle, public education from the other side of the desk. Policy, discipline, leadership. There's the headline, there's the reaction. But see, the view from this seat is different, and trust, I'll always give you the real. So let's get into it.
Class is in session.
School's out for ICE out.
Protests over these immigration enforcement raids are spreading nationwide. Now they're hitting schools and affecting a lot of students right here in central Indiana.
Students across Metro Atlanta walked out of class to protest the ICE operations around the country.
Dozens of students walked out of class today to Fulton County High School to protest ICE and show support for classmates and families impacted by immigration enforcement.
Across America, students are walking out of classrooms to protest ICE operations. Whether you agree or disagree, whether you see it as noble or misguided, one thing is clear. These protests have captured national attention. From major cities to suburban districts, students are marching, chanting. While most demonstrations have remained peaceful and organized, others have escalated, creating safety concerns. But whether peaceful or chaotic, demonstrations such as these have substantially disrupted the learning environment. But I'm not here to debate the politics. I want to focus on one specific student protest, because it highlights something bigger about leadership, order, and what happens when activism meets the structure of a school building. Let's have a closer look.
Cobb County father says a high school principal assaulted his son. It happened before Metro Atlanta students walked out of protest to protest ICE operation.
My heart drops every time I see him. I just feel incredibly scared. Mr. G hit me, he pushed me into the wall, and then he grabbed my arm, and I was really scared.
When you start putting your hands on somebody, then you take it to the next level, and that's a crime.
Chada Jimenez, the student's father and an attorney, told me he filed this police report after he saw this video.
He's grabbing her, and she has nothing to do with any protest at all. And after that, he beelines to go attack my son.
I didn't know what was going on because I had just been walking.
Now, the news clip cuts off mid-statement. The full story can be found in the description box below. But let's slow this down. First, if an administrator puts his hands on a student inappropriately, that's serious. Full stop. If boundaries were crossed, that deserves investigation and due process. But here's what people aren't talking about. Free speech does not mean freedom from consequences, especially when it disrupts a structured school environment. Schools are not public squares. They are governed by a student code of conduct and state law.
If something were to happen to the student after they walked out in one of these protests, the school may be financially liable.
Immigration attorney Joshua McCall says schools have the right to suspend students who do not follow the code of conduct.
So their constitutional rights like freedom of speech are far more limited than what an adult would be.
When students walk out during instructional time, it interrupts learning. It creates supervision gaps. It introduces safety risks. And when families are warned ahead of time, consequences should not be a surprise. That is not personal. That is policy.
Most of the state of Georgia or the Metro Atlanta area, they all allowed the kids to express their personal feelings about this, and this was a student-led moment, and Cobb County is not allowing that to happen.
Now imagine being the principal. You're responsible for close to 3,300 students, safety, liability, staff, instructional time, and in seconds, a politically charged crowd forms. Emotions rise. Phones come out. One split-second decision becomes a headline. Danged if you do, danged if you don't. But let's be honest. If something had happened to that student during the protest, the same people would ask, where was the principal? Where was the instructional staff? Where were the assistant principals? Where were the adults? Consistency is leadership. If the code of conduct says there are consequences, you enforce them. Not selectively, not based on politics, but equally. Again, if physical contact crossed a line, investigate it. But don't ignore the bigger picture. Running a safe, functional school requires order. And that's the part that most people never see. So remember, this isn't about politics. It's about structure. It's about the reality of leading a building where one spark can turn into chaos. That's the weight of being in this seat. That, my friends, is the admin angle.